I didn't have a clue that we would be where we are today.
Did I think it would be where it is? Honestly, no.
When I started, that was my desire. Doing this, we were going to impact the church. We were going to impact the world with the gospel. And people were going to understand who Christ was. And they were going to come to Him, and they were going to be part of His church. And that's what it was about. That was the bottom line, to help them to become like Christ. And so that was the bigger picture.
Well, when I first got involved in RUF, there were about 10 of them. And so obviously there's a few more than that. Then as I got involved on a presbytery level, it had grown to 40 or 50. And then as I got involved on the permanent committee, it moved closer to 100, or actually went over 100. And so I've kind of watched it grow over the years.
When I started developing the program, there were 3 or 4 women that were currently serving as campus staff, and it was just a generic term. I think 5 years ago, I had a dream and a hope that we would have 10 campus staff. By the time we hit 2021 or 2022, we've had the program just continue to grow, and now we have 59 campus staff.
I have great hope for RUF. We're going to be 50 years old, so what are the next 50 going to look like? I mean, I think we're going to continue to grow because of God's grace and God's faithfulness.
When I think about how RUF has changed from my first days, it was really more of a southern ministry. It was really mostly SEC schools when I started. And now the last few years when I've gotten to visit a staff training, it just is, it's the nation. Just such different schools, so many more seminaries represented, such different contexts. So, I mean, just a huge change is that it's really a national ministry now.
There was a very big intentional aspect into move into other cultures and other areas of the United States, and even in other countries. And it's neat that you've got a common theme being taught, again, of a fixed theology. The methodology might change a little bit because we're in different cultures. That all started almost 50 years ago, that same concept.
It's not a cookie cutter ministry. It's more thoughtful, more contextualized. And that's been beautiful. Ministry at Jackson State, it's gonna look different than at Jacksonville State, you know? And so that's beautiful about RUF.
RUF has been not only an evangelism arm of the PCA on the college and university campus, it's been a really effective discipleship arm. And so it has prepared a lot of really faithful church members that are going to be giving leadership in local congregations that are going to make those congregations healthier, and will help those congregations reach out to their community around them, because they've already been discipled into thinking that way on the context of the college campus. And so I think where we'd be without RUF in the churches, we'd be poorer without RUF because of the way that it's contributed to the discipleship of our churches.
You're trying to establish them in their faith, and you're trying to be sure that they understand what the gospel is, and they understand what it means to be a Christian. Not only there, but as they're growing, then that should be laying the foundation for the rest of their lives.
I wouldn't have known Jesus outside of RUF. Not that He couldn't do it in another way, but He chose specifically to do that through RUF. It has changed the trajectory of my life forever, being connected with RUF. And that's what the Lord is doing with RUF, not just locally, but abroad. And He has been at work for 50 years, and He has not stopped being at work, and it's continuing to go forward.
If you let the Word loose with the Holy Spirit, then He changes people. I know that God is still working, and that's what it's about, God's work.